Sup, you beautiful bastards? Hope you're having a fantastic Friday. Welcome back to the Friday Show. For those of you that are new here, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we talk about news, we talk about world events, and then Friday, it is dedicated to the conversation. I go back through the past week of videos, see what you're saying, share that with the world, and then reply back. Because while it's great to have a news show, what the hell's the point unless we're actually having a conversation about things? With that said, let's jump into the Monday show. Monday, we had the H3H3 controversy, the Elijah Daniel Bible ban, and the St. Louis cop that was acquitted, and the reactions that followed. On the H3H3 N-word controversy, Coleman McKinney 2442 wrote, I feel like iDubbbz wasn't using it aggressively as a direct insult, more of a free speech test, but PewDiePie was using it in an aggressive insult to portray hate. I like PewDiePie and iDubbbz both, but in this situation, like Philip DeFranco says, context matters. Ariana Elizabeth wrote, I don't agree with anybody saying the N-word. I'm not black, so I'm not personally offended, but I still don't think anyone should say that, especially people making fun with it like iDubbbz. I think that if you are black, you can say it because, well, you know, it's not something people should be okay with saying, in my opinion. Brandon Spence wrote, as a black person, I see why people are offended by this, but I don't think anyone shouldn't be able to say the word. The more you try to censor the word, the more power you give it. I don't speak for the rest of black people, but I know good and well that I'm not going to let some 6-letter word have control over me and my emotions. I am better than that, and it would be for the best if others were the same. So what I'll do here is kind of just explain where I personally stand on it. This story popping up for the last week or so, it's given me time to kind of just think about it, talk about it with other people of differing opinions. And where I've ended on it is, yeah, there are different situations, there's different context. Let's look at 3 instances we've seen in the past few years. You have Louis C.K. saying a word in a stand-up special, you have Bill Maher calling himself one, and you have Kramer screaming it at people. You had some people that were angry at all three, saying all three were wrong. Then you had a much larger group of people angry about Maher and Kramer. But of course, the largest group of people were just angry at Kramer. In his situation, he was screaming the word at a group of black people he was angry at. It was hate, it was rage.
He's a nigger! He's a nigger! He's a nigger!
Oh my God.
A nigger! Look, there's a nigger!
In Bill Maher's situation, he was seen less as hateful and just stupid and ignorant, using a racial slur and historical black suffering as a prop for a joke.
Senator, I'm a house nigger. No, it's a joke.
And finally, back to Louis C.K., his whole joke being about when you say the N-word, you make me think of the actual word.
The N-word? That's just white people getting away with saying nigger. That's all that is. They found a way to say nigger. N-word.
And so it's a joke about how by you trying to hide the word, you've spread it even more. You've done nothing to actually tidy it up, clean it up. You've just said code that is then transferred to the listener or reader's brain, and they go, oh, that word. For some, the use of the word, it's a black and white situation. Other, they want to look at the shades of gray. And as far as me personally, I mean, if you've watched a show for a while, you know that if I was doing a quote like from Kanye West, I think we've done in the past, on the show while reading a Kanye quote, I used to say the word, and now I really wouldn't. But for me, that's a personal choice. It's not I'm worried people are going to get angry at me. It's just, it doesn't add anything to the show, and I actually kind of hate the word. But that's just my personal opinion on it. Then, actually, before we jump into Tuesday, a few things. One, thank you to everyone that one time a day is going to votedefranco.com. You're putting out your daily tweet. You're going to my tweets with hashtag DeFranco Show for streamings. You're retweeting those because those count as votes too. Which actually, by the way, to make it a little bit of a game, I know a lot of you seem to love to torture me about my past, so if you get this tweet, which is in the top of this description of this video, to 40,000 plus retweets, we will do another Philip DeFranco watches old Philip DeFranco cringe video. If you want that, there it is. And also, too, I wanted to thank the sponsor of today's Friday show, DKPhil.com. This year we teamed up with DraftKings again as a sponsorship, but also outside of that, I just love playing fantasy football. Side note to everyone that does in sports, sorry for spamming you on Mondays and Thursdays and Sundays about my happiness and anger. But in addition to me loving DraftKings personally, they're also a sponsor supporter of this show. And today at DKPhil.com, they set up this awesome contest. It's for the first 100 people that get to it. You get free entry with a first-time deposit of $5, and what's even more amazing, if you do that before Sunday, September 24th, before 1 p.m. Eastern, you get a free ticket to play free every week for the rest of the season. So big thanks to them, to everyone I'm going to be facing this weekend. I hope I destroy your face, unlike everyone I faced yesterday. Probably my worst week ever. I lost to everyone but 4 people. Still up 4K this season, but I'm going to have to look at my picks a little better. That said, let's jump into the Tuesday show. Tuesday, we had the Pepe the Frog copyright claims, Jenna Marbles' harassment situation, the Seattle Nazi punching incident, and Trump addressing the UN General Assembly. On the Pepe the Frog copyright claims story, KM wrote, I understand this is very serious and whatnot, but isn't it a little funny that people are fighting over a meme frog? I mean, yes, think about it. We are talking today about a meme frog, and that's how we were talking about the difference between trademark and copyright. And it brings up the question of, is making a meme or slightly repurposing all of a sudden transformative enough? So to answer your question, yes, it's extremely funny, but it is becoming more, I feel like, of the standard. Laws are being tested, and precedent is being made in the weirdest of situations. I mean, thanks to Pepe the Frog and us covering the story, so many people realize now the difference between trademark and infringing copyright. But now there is also the question of, is memeing transformative enough? Also, let's just look back to the H3H3 lawsuit situation. Just think of how ridiculous that story is at a top level. We saw legal precedent made thanks to a case about a guy who was angry that another guy was making fun of his parkour skills and his pickup lines on women. And that situation somehow turned into the strengthening and the greater understanding of fair use. And it brings me back to something I've been saying for over a decade, sometimes ironically, other times not. The internet's is serious business. And the more money that gets thrown at the internet year over year, the less ironic that statement is. On the Seattle Nazi punching story, Kamak wrote, Nazis wish death upon those who are not them. Actual death. Not financial crisis, not jail time, not even conversion. They want extermination of those who are different from them. I don't care if this guy was a casual Nazi or even a nice guy Nazi who wanted to discuss. I agree with hashtag punch a Nazi because a KO is pennies compared to what they will gladly see done to the LGBT+, Jewish, and black people. Stand up for what's right, shut down hate that kills people. A lot of people are filled with hate and troll online or get drunk at bars and pick fights. They're just dumbasses who lack empathy. But they can express that, sure. A person who is wearing the symbol of exterminating people because they aren't white and straight can't get punished by the law in America. But at least there are civilians who see the problem and take care of it. The only thing that will work against a Nazi is violence because they exist in violence. Joel McGee writing, white supremacy of any kind should not be coddled. Mark Giolingo writing, silencing another person's point of view with violence is fascism. These people are hypocrites. Somehow they made the Nazi have the moral high ground. At least he wasn't running around punching Jews. And once again, we had so many opinions on this. I do want to hit on something that Max said. Person wearing the symbol of exterminating people because they aren't white and straight. So that statement, I've been seeing more and more debate that by even just showing that symbol, you have a swastika, a symbol for the Nazis, the perpetrators of genocide. I've seen more and more arguments that should not be protected. Like we discussed last time, we've had different instances of someone just saying, hey, that person's a Nazi, and that person getting punched, and this situation where someone's actually wearing the swastika. Right, that's why I got comments like ones from Rancor Palma, who wrote, different situation, he was wearing the armband, so yeah, fuck that guy. Dude's a traitor to all brave US soldiers who gave their all into everything America symbolizes. And I point that out because I've seen more and more of an argument that by wearing that symbol, that is essentially someone shouting, I think that we should kill this person. And essentially the argument is, so that's not protected by free speech because that is a threat. I just love to know your opinion on that, especially because when looking at the comments, it seemed that there were far fewer people here that were sympathetic to the guy that got punched. And so you understand the question, can a symbol be a threat? And obviously there are different layers to that question because we're talking about the swastika here, but in the past few years, we've even covered stories where emojis were used as evidence of a threat. I mean, we're talking felony charges here. So I'll leave you with that because I'd love to know your thoughts. Then we had the Wednesday show. Wednesday, we had the D-bag Starbucks robber who is suing the guy who stopped him, the infuriating video of Navy corpsmen messing with someone's baby, the Lipscomb University dinner controversy, and the massive earthquake in Mexico. On the story about the two babies, Geeky Gamer Guy wrote, being both a Navy veteran and a father, both of these women need to be put underground. Sorry, I laughed. That was the first time I read that sentence. Didn't know how it was gonna end. How dare they take someone else's child and treat them like an unwanted toy? Tar and feather them and burn them alive as a warning to anyone else willing to disgrace the medical field. You know, I read that comment and it's just like, I really wish Geeky Gamer Guy would let me know how he really feels. Holy hell, that said, comments like these were not outliers. The majority of people were furious. Many people pointing out that the baby could have been hurt here. This is a newborn. Neck support, how you handle the baby, all incredibly important. That's just aside from generally disgusting behavior from medical professionals. But there are also a lot of healthcare professionals pointing something out that I wasn't even aware of. Brielle Beetle writing, those two Navy hospital staff are absolutely disgusting. They're literally breaking patient rights and HIPAA laws, which should get them fired right there. But the fact that the one girl had acrylic nails and was anywhere near newborn babies is disgusting. I don't know where they are from, but in New York, any healthcare professional, no matter what profession you are in, cannot have acrylic nails because of all the bacteria and nasty buildup that happens between the fake nail and your real nail. Absolutely disgusting on a human level and on a health level. And so I didn't even think it was possible, but this became an even more annoying and disgusting situation. Then on the Lipscomb University dinner disaster, Ricardo Colmenero said, when they mentioned Latino students were served tacos, part of me wanted to say, well, tacos are a Mexican thing, not all Latinos are Mexican. But then the larger part of me says, shut the fuck up, everybody loves tacos. The Grinning Viking writing, it's racist as F to serve Latinos tacos and then serve soul food to black students, particularly with no chairs and with added cotton centerpieces. That's just a lack of common sense, son. Next thing we hear, he'll have invited all the Asian students over for kung pao chicken and rice. Okay, a few things to cover here. One, on the note of everyone loves tacos, not true. I mean, I personally do, but you gotta think about the variation. Wednesday I said just order pizza, everyone loves pizza, and then people reminded me that yeah, some people put pineapple on pizza, and that became a whole different argument with a certain group of people. Also, a more serious note I want to hit on the idea that the Latino students were served tacos. Really, we only have one person claiming this, at least in the main story publicly. So that's not something I can confirm or deny happened at this point. Then we had Julia Beach writing, I understand being offended by the cotton centerpieces, but isn't it the African-American students that made it racist? I don't believe the president put it on the table to be racist. It's a very popular decoration. Also, millions of African slaves died in the sugar plantations in South America. Is sugar racist too? Harold Dawson wrote, I am am black. While I personally would not get offended by this, I do see why others would. Though I am of the opinion that you look forward without looking back unless something is unforgivably racist. Like, what is the point of being offended? But I am different from others of my color. My grandmother got mad at me for going to the back of the bus once when I was young, and I was like, yeah, fuck this. So if you're giving out free food, mac and cheese no less, that's all me, baby. I'm tearing that shit up. And there are more and more comments, and just seeing everyone from their different backgrounds and their opinions on this, it was very eye-opening. But in general, what it appeared like was most people thought at most what we were looking at here was ignorance. I mean, as far as who was offended, I mean, the people were all over the place on this story. If you looked at the story on Huffington Post, like all the top comments were essentially like, drive the man from the state. Elsewhere, you saw people saying that this story was being blown out of proportion. And it's not like we're gonna get everyone on the same page or solve this, so just to everyone that was sharing their opinion, thank you. Then there was the Thursday show. Thursday, we talked about the 5-year-old who made terroristic threats, PewDiePie and gaming culture, another Equifax blunder, the deaf man who was shot by police, and the Catalonia independence vote crackdown. On the story of the police shooting the deaf man, Pepe the Pope wrote, the officer should be fired. You always give a warning shot, then you shoot at feet or legs to immobilize the suspect. Never shoot at vital organs, and definitely not 5 rounds. These officers are fully responsible for this. What? Warning shots? Well, and warning shots in general are a bad idea. That's not how the police are trained to use their weapons. They're trained to use their weapons as a way to stop a threat. And secondly, and once again, I'm not arguing that if the cops are right in this situation or in any situation. The argument that you never aim where there are vital organs, you try and shoot like a leg. No, life isn't a movie. They shoot at center mass. Why? Because it is the largest target. You're trying to stop a threat. You want to make sure your bullet hits. Just something I wanted to touch on. But then there was also a very valid question that a lot of people were asking. People like Victor Torres writing, if one person had a taser, the other had a pistol, why the fuck would you shoot the pistol? Tasers aren't deadly and are effective. It just pisses me off that the cops don't use tasers more often. Well, what I would point out here is, one, tasers are less lethal. They have killed, but the likelihood is obviously very, very low. And two, I don't know, it seems like a heat of the moment sort of thing. Guy coming at you, people screaming, the officers don't communicate, I'm gonna try and tase them first. There are instances where tasers aren't effective enough and it doesn't stop someone from approaching. I don't know, that's really a question only the officers involved could answer. On the gaming culture story, Amelia Holiday wrote, PewDiePie is not racist. In Sweden, the N-word is tossed around way more than in America or some other countries. I'm not saying that what he said was right and that I agree with what the word means, but when you grow up in a place where using the word is common and somewhat okay to say in public, you might say it. It's unavoidable. Well, one, I want to point out, Amelia, that I was not saying that PewDiePie is racist. I even said in the video that people online, you have people that say the word because they're just trolling. They're trying to mess with you, get a big reaction. You have legitimately racist, shitty people, and then you have others where maybe you've been around it so much, it almost seems like a throwaway word and it becomes a part of someone's vocabulary. Mr. Squishy Cookie, I like that name, wrote, the online community in general is toxic. I disagree. There are toxic people who exist in that space, but they exist in the same way as man-hating rabid feminists. They're a vocal minority. So Squishy, if I can use your first name. Let's talk about it this way. When talking about online gaming, let's consider it not as a group of individuals, but as a group of instances. If you're in a 10-man deathmatch and you have 1 or 2 people just spouting the most racist shit ever, you can view that as having a 1-to-8 ratio if you're looking at individuals, or you can look at that as just one toxic incident. Right, like if you had a cake and not all of it, but part of it was parts of just shit, you probably not want to eat that cake. Now granted, there are going to be people that are fine with taking the time to, just kind of chip away and not like get their hands or mouth near the shit, but I feel like you're in the clear if you want to call that cake shitty. And also, I want to note that I'm pulling the 1 out of 8 thing out of thin air. That's not like a specific statistic. And if anything, I'm really glad you brought this point up because it kind of helped me flesh out how I feel about that. Nuovo Swiss wrote, in my opinion, offensive language can add to an online gaming experience. It does depend on the game and the situation, but I've enjoyed salt from both sides. There is something really satisfying when you get a kill that makes someone on the other team lose their shit. On the other hand, it can be cathartic to yell/type terrible shit to someone who just pulled off a really nasty play against you. So that actually kind of hits on another great point. The amount of toxicity, there is a range based also on the game. Not all communities are made the same. And secondly, I did say yesterday that I often mute everyone that's not on my friends list, but there is something, like when you're playing Rocket League and someone's just talking incredible, horrible shit at you and then you just beat them, and then as soon as the game's over, they just immediately leave. It's just, it feels so good. But at the same time, it's important to realize our experiences aren't everyone else's experience. At least that's my takeaway from it. And actually, that's the note we're gonna end on today. And guys, I just want to thank you for another fantastic week. Thank you for being a part of this. And I'm directing that at all levels, whether you're just watching, you're also commenting, you're liking, you're sharing, maybe you're part of DeFranco Elite, you're helping fund what we're doing. Maybe you're one of the people going to votedefranco.com trying to make sure that we win Best Show of the Year this year. Whatever it is for you, thank you so much. But that said, let's end it like always. My name's Philip DeFranco. You've just been filled in. I love yo faces, and I'll see you next time.